welcome to Talking TSM, the Game House's talk show about TSM's LCS team. I'm Robert Haynes, your host and your guide into the world of TSM's LCS team. And goal is nearly accomplished, where the boys in black and white are looking playoff bound, which is great. It is great. Again, I'm excited to watch us win maybe one game in the in ye old best of 5. You know, maybe Spica turns it on and maybe Maple figures it out. I don't know. But yeah. Yay. This lineup iteration is doing pretty well, all things considered. They are now, let me think here. They're now 2-2. And since Instinct and Chime have shown up, they're when was this? Was this week 4? Yeah, it was week 4. They're 1, 2, 3, 3-4, 3-4 over their last 7 games. Spoiler alert, in case if you weren't paying attention. Yeah, 3-4 with a win this weekend. So I want to know your guys' thoughts. Do you guys feel like this move between Sol and Solo has, 1, been the difference, and 2, has it been worth it to potentially stunt Sol's growth a little bit? Again, I want to know. I mean, genuinely, because right now, like, we're doing well. We've won 2 of our last 3 games, which is great. Not gonna really complain about that. I don't know that things would have necessarily been different with Solo because the 2 teams that we did beat, Golden Guardians and Dignitas, are both pretty bad and probably the 2 teams that won't make playoffs. To be honest with you, now I don't know that for 100% fact, but I do have a fancy dancy little calculator here that I put together in order to check playoff odds. Now, it is made for fantasy football, so there's a little bit of nuance and the caveat to it, but that's okay. I think it's fun. I think it's interesting, and I think I put in what I thought was the best potential options and stuff for everything, and I'll I don't know that I'm going to show it on the stream necessarily, but I am going to kind of just walk you guys through what I've put together after we go through the games, and we'll just kind of go from there. So, like I said, this is things are good. Things are good in TSM land. I think we're basically 1 game away from guaranteeing playoffs, which is pretty crazy, all things considered. I still ask, who cares? I really do just wonder, but I mean, I guess an extra 3 to 5 games of TSM aren't gonna make us sad. It gives me more content for the show to talk about, so whatever. That is fine with me. But yeah, let's get into it here. So, game 1 against Evil Geniuses. I am not surprised at all. We did exactly what I think they were expecting us to do. And, whatever, I guess. This game was doomed from the start. The banning of LeBlanc is fine. The Yumi, I don't really love the Misfortune ban, but whatever. I mean, everybody's playing Sivir Zeri anyways. I don't think Misfortune, while I know Danny can and has played it, is going to be a difference maker in this game. To be honest with you, I would have rather a Poppy ban. I just think Poppy would have been a much better ban here than Misfortune, but teams are seemingly happy to give it in case if they can get the Trundle. I think Trundle is a great pick into it. It didn't work out in this game, but I do want to reiterate, like, in most matchups between a Poppy and a Trundle, this is good. Like, this is a great matchup. So I don't hate that part of it. But you know, they have 4 champions with a dash. So, you know, they understand that they could abuse it, and they did. I mean, just straight up. We did not look good this whole game, and we did exactly what I predicted that we would do, which was pay way too much attention to the top lane when I really do think that bot would have been the more ideal area to. Like, I understand that Vulcan and Danny are very good, but Zeri takes a while to get going. She's not a champion necessarily that is good even past level 6, really. Like, really until levels like 8, 9-ish is when she really starts to truly come online. Like, she can still do some damage. Like, her W is quite oppressive if you're caught in the middle of it. But her clear is not very good, even at the pro level. Like, I am not convinced that she's unbeatable in lane. I actually think she's extremely beatable in lane, and I think she can be bullied very easily. Like, I know she's got some good escapes, but you can put her so far behind that she's not all that great. And I really wish the TSM would have just focused into the bot lane. I don't understand it, to be honest with you. I really don't. I mean, you have Sivir, who's way stronger than Zeri right now. She's better in lane, and she scales better into the late game, which I know may sound crazy, but she really does. I mean, the 500 CS Sivir is like a real thing. And Instinct looked okay on her, but, you know, he did what he's supposed to do. She just farms early game, and Chime is supposed to roam. I get that. But I don't think you pick the Bard here. I think you pick maybe something a little more engagey, to be honest with you. Something that can get onto, you know, the Danny or the Vulcan. And then I think you just have Spica go bot, like, a lot. I don't think solo dying a whole bunch matters, and I don't love that they picked the Fiora into the impact Gwen. I liked the counter pick, the set that Whippo brought out this weekend. I hadn't really thought about that pick, obviously, myself, but I think that's a nice counter pick, and I think that we might see a lot more set because of that pick, to be honest with you. I think it's a super intelligent pick, you know. He might be one of the only champions that can go toe-to-toe with her in a scrap, you know, because of his true damage shield W. So, yeah, this game was about what I expected. I mean, we just did, you know, like, we put a ton of focus into the top lane. Like, Solo was so far behind. And it's not necessarily all his fault, but once the early gank failed, or once he had died once, like, that matchup was over. It didn't matter. And I understand that he's Fiora, but, like, just let him farm and scale on his own. I really, really think that the game plan should have been to go bot here as much as possible, with the Zeri and Danny behind as much as you can, because her pop-off potential without items is just non-existent. She needs items to be actually able to deal out damage. Like, otherwise it's like a pea shooter. There's just nothing going on. So I think in this specific matchup, not that Danny can be bullied all the time, but you got to do something different. And Evil Geniuses knew exactly what we were going to do the entire game. You know, there was no real... We never really had a chance. I don't think we were ever all that far ahead. You know, I mean, stacking the Drakes early was great. You know, but I just think it's such a waste of time to go top lane when they know they're a better team than you. So they're going to challenge you where your strength lies. You have to try to play to a different win con, in my opinion. And we just frankly didn't do that. Maple, yet again, was basically non-existent. I don't think he's bad. I think he's able to stabilize in lane and be okay. Like, he's there. but he's not much else. Like, I really expected a better mid laner. Like, not a lot better, but I figured somebody who would be proactive, moving around the map, especially on the Azir and the Ahri. And even with the Ahri, he was really not moving around. Like, he's very much just like, he kind of reminds me of a worse Power of Evil. No roaming, very, very minimal, like, doing anything other than catching waves, really. Like, I'm glad you can CS pretty well, but, like, he's not really taking any risks in the mid lane. Like, he's not making many plays. I need to check, but I can't. I don't think we can see it, but I can't imagine his solo. He's had maybe more than one solo kill, all split. Not that that's, like, a huge indicator of how good you are, but it is an indicator in my mind as to your aggressiveness and if we could see, like, his forward percentage and stuff like that, that'd be interesting. But it really is just shocking to me how little he is doing in a lot of these games right now. And maybe it's just that the team is still not doing very well, so he's not all that comfortable. But it even feels like in most team fights, he's made some plays here and there. Like, he's not bad, but he's not good or great either. And it's starting to make me question whether or not he is a solution in the mid lane going forward after this season. Honestly, I'm feeling no right now. I'm feeling pretty strongly no, actually. I think there's a lot of mid laners that I would rather give a chance to, including Takeover. Not that Takeover's better than Maple, but at least he's going to try to make something happen, and anybody, in my mind at least, can just catch waves. Even Kaiduo was doing fine at catching waves. His positioning in team fights was bad, but it's not like Maple's sitting out here, dishing out damage. I mean, the difference in damage was nearly 2,000 for us. And while he did, I guess, the most damage for our team in this game, that's not really saying a whole lot to me, to be honest with you. But maybe I'm just being, I don't know, just dumb, which is extremely possible. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting to me. I just don't think this game was very good from him at all. And again, not that it was good from the team, but I was not impressed. And I'm still not really all that impressed with Maple. Actually, we're gonna take a second and look at this. Maybe I'm just crazy. Let's go into these stats here. So for mid laners, he ranks second to last in kills, only next to Maple. Surprise, surprise. 26 kills, 24 for Power of Evil. He's got 31 deaths, which is third most in the LCS. Not great. He's also tied with Blue in kills, to give you an example. The one thing that he is doing pretty well at is his kill participation's solid. He's got 53 assists, which is 15 more than Blue and 7 more than Power of Evil. His first blood rate's only 8%. His gold difference is negligible at 70. His XP difference is negligible at 68. CS per minute is 9, which is good, but it's middle of the pack. And his damage per minute is actually second worst in the LCS at 482. Only 3 points higher than Blue. His damage per minute, and then his damage per second for the team is only 26%, which is third worst as well. And what's crazy is his damage, his share of damage, his damage percentage half at 15 minutes actually puts him in the top 5. So it means that his late game damage is pretty bad. His average gold per minute is pretty bad too. I mean, he's basically a slightly better Power of Evil right now. And Power of Evil is arguably the worst mid laner in the LCS this split. So I mean, he's bottom 3 in basically every statistic. The eye test isn't giving me much either. I am very much questioning our future if Maple is still on this team. right now. I had not really looked at the stats, but this is not great to me. I don't care that he can CS and go even if he's not really able to do anything. Oh, his first blood, I misread. It was 23%, not 8. It's actually one of the better ones in the LCS. I think it's because of Spica. Because that first blood percentage is not you getting the kill necessarily, it's you being a part of the assist. And we're a pretty early game focused team. So I am, I don't know about this. It's just not, it's not ideal to me. I am not of the opinion that he's doing great. But regardless, we head into the Dignitas game. The one that we were, we had to win. I said it last week. I'm saying it again here now. We 100% had to win this game. Just straight out. And we did. We actually crushed, demolished them. Which we should have done. I mean, considering 3 of the 5 players are, academy at best players who are getting a chance right now. I think XU maybe has a chance to be something, but Spawn has never really impressed me, and Hoon, he was pretty bad even in academy, and he's not been great up here. This game felt pretty much in control almost the entire time. Man, this damage graph. Okay, yeah, this damage graph. Okay, we'll talk about that here in a second. Holy mother of God. The damage graph is very telling in this game for us. Solo was great. I love solo on Ornn. I would take solo on Ornn every single game. I will never complain about it once. I'm very happy to see him on Ornn. He plays it very well. And I know it's boring maybe, but he's more of a team player. He doesn't give a crap about the yays or the satisfying of viewers or anybody else. All he cares about is winning. And I will give him credit for that. Again, I'm not a solo hater, by the way. He did a great interview with Mike last week. And I think he's a nice guy, and I think he is a mercenary. He's doing his best to help teams. He is the plug-and-play player in the LCS, especially, obviously, in the top lane, where if you need somebody to just come in and play the lane, at least an even state and have an impact in team fights, he instantly gives you at least, a top 6, top 7 top laner. I don't think he does anything extraordinarily well outside of just, not losing in lane. And that can be valuable when you have a jungler that's a little bit more volatile in a good way, mostly, who can carry. So, this team is built around Spica right now. It's built around getting him leads. It's built around him taking kills and getting damage out. And, that's great. I mean, he's our best player, and it's really not very close. I think arguably Maple is the second best player right now, at least. And that's not saying much, as I just showed you guys. So, yeah, I am of the opinion that, things are going pretty well, for how Solo's doing. And I think this game showed that. I mean, Hoon should not be at his level, and he wasn't. And I think some teams may need to look at Solo for the future. I mean, he's a really nice piece to have when you're bridging a rebuild, right? If they really don't think Solo is that, then yeah, that's fine. Or Soul is that, then that's fine. I would have preferred Solo initially than Soul, because if they really just didn't feel like he was ready, then I think Solo should have started. But regardless, again, I'm sorry I always dive into that. I'm still questioning that decision overall, but whatever. I like this draft a lot. I don't really care about, I don't know why we were focusing so much on bot lane. I think we're really lucky that Dignitas waited to do a lot of their just a lot of their mid lane, not a lot of it, any of their mid lane picks, because we were able to still ban out the Lissandra and the LeBlanc, which I think was fantastic. I love it. I think Wukong is a great team fighter. I think, excuse me, he's very easily able to go into Viego. I think Sivir is great. They were talking about something else being on Chime, but I do think that he's a really nice engage tool and into a team that you're not too worried about overall. In terms of their talent, I don't care. I think it's totally fine. We were able to get Rift Herald twice, and only one time was it actually even a little dicey. And they gave Player of the Game to Maple. I don't think so. I think he was fine, I guess, in the blue. He kept him from really roaming too much, which is good. He had some kills and made some decent plays. I actually think Instinct was really good in this game along with Spica. I would say, for me, it should have been solo Spica or Instinct for Player of the Game, and the damage graph would attest to that. Maple dealt out 20,000 damage, which is great. But Instinct did almost 24. It felt like Instinct was just having a really good game. I would have liked to have seen him get Player of the Game. I think he did a really good job in the bot lane. I think they kept Spawn pretty much just not like he just didn't do much. I think it was great. I think Chime had some great engages. It was overall just a good team win. I mean, when you play a team this bad, like everybody's like, oh, they didn't do much for 15 minutes. Like, oh, it's kind of boring. It's like, but that's what good teams do against bad teams. You don't have to take early fights or anything when you know that you're going to win around objectives. That's just the reality of being a much better team in League of Legends. Teams have done that to us constantly. Where it's like, oh, like we're just kind of here, and we're kind of holding with them, and then the next thing you know, they just flip a switch at a team fight, and the next thing you know, it's over. Dignitas is a terrible team in terms of LCS talent. I don't think Hoon will probably ever step on the LCS stage again. I don't know that Spawn will either. We'll have to see, to be honest with you. And I am just of the opinion that we were a better team from the start, and we proved it. I mean, they got 4 total kills, 1 tower, 1 dragon. That's it. We won by 12k gold by the end of the game. I mean, at 15 minutes, 16 minutes, like it was already a 3k lead that ballooned into like a 5k lead. At every objective, basically, we pretty much just took them out. Like we took that Baron, and it was over. I like the aggression from Spica. I think it was really smart. I love the turn that we did when we needed to get the 4-for-1 in kills. And yeah, solid game. And to go into this now, it nearly guarantees us playoffs. Here are the current standings as a reminder. 100 Thieves and Evil Geniuses are tied at 12 and 3. Now, it's interesting because I think EG should have been number one, but 3 losses isn't going to be too bad. It'll be interesting to see if either of them lose. And if not, then we might get a tiebreaker game because they are 1-1 against each other. Although it may be total game time or something like that. I can't remember how they do the tiebreakers this year. I'll have to. I could swear that we would get tiebreaker games still, but I could be wrong on that. CLG and Team Liquid at 10 and 5. Team Liquid with a really, really, really big dub this weekend over EG and over FlyQuest. Two big dubs, I should say. CLG also with some nice wins over C9 and FlyQuest. So sad for FlyQuest, but I mean, right now it's looking like I thought Cloud9 was our pretty clear number 3, but it looks like CLG or Team Liquid might be our number 3. Ugh, I don't know about that one. Don't love it. Anyways, Cloud9 at 8 and 7, FlyQuest at 7 and 8, then us at 5 and 10. Golden Guardians and Immortals tied at 4 and 11, and Dignitas at 3 and 12. Now, the upcoming week schedule and everything is going to be very important. going forward. Obviously, I'm going to walk you through the games for each of our teams, and then I'm going to kind of walk you guys through. Again, I used a fantasy football playoffs odds maker because there's not really like an odds maker for like just anything at all. Like it's just, I don't know. This one is interesting to say the least. So, Dignitas this weekend. We'll start at the bottom. They play Team Liquid, Evil Geniuses, and Golden Guardians. Yeah, I mean, they're going to have to beat Golden Guardians if they even want a shot at playoffs, because there's no way that they should beat Team Liquid or Evil Geniuses. It's just not. I would put that I put it at a very low chance. Like, you have to put in the odds for these games. I gave them a 20% chance against Team Liquid and a 1% chance against Evil Geniuses. Team Liquid's been a little more volatile, so I'm using that word a lot today, but it's true. They have a chance. I gave them a 50-50 shot against Golden Guardians. As the week goes on, I would probably lean more towards like 60-40, but whatever. Moving on up, Immortals. Immortals play Cloud9. They play FlyQuest, and then they play CLG. I have given them a 40% chance against Cloud9 and FlyQuest, and a 25% chance against CLG. I mean, C9 and Fly and CLG, they've all had some issues at different points. Immortals, at their best, I think can beat all three of those teams. It would be a pretty incredible run from that team to do it, and they would have to really be on their game. I don't think it's impossible. I just don't think it's likely. So I am really of the opinion that, again, they maybe pull out one win, which would tie them with us theoretically. Okay, although I think we hold. Oh yeah, it's still a 1-1 over them. Moving on, Golden Guardians. They also play Evil Geniuses. I gave them a 10% chance to win that game. Evil Geniuses have looked a little shaky. Teams are just focusing down Impact. I think he's going to have to find a way to just not die, and I think they're going to have to just put him on Ornn duty or something like that to try to mitigate it right now, unless if they can figure out some other way to still, not get too far behind. But they're potentially beatable. It's not likely, but top lane is the way to do it. Again, TSM tried to, but it was so obvious that was the only thing that we could do to win that Evil Geniuses were able to counter it. So, yeah. Moving on, they also then play Team Liquid. Dig and Golden Guardians, man, have a really rough weekend. Really not fun. And then Golden Guardians play Dig. So, yeah, they have basically the same weekend. Not basically. They do have the same weekend. They play two of the top four teams, and then they play each other. So, one of them is going to have a chance. I mean, if Golden Guardians wins, obviously, then I think it's a pretty good chance. If Dignitas win, then I think we maybe play a tiebreaker game. And then lastly, there's us. We play CLG, which I only give us a 25% chance against them. Cloud9, a 35% chance. I'm realizing now that I'm being a little disrespectful because I think I gave IMT a better chance at Cloud9 than us. So I'm gonna move that. I'm gonna move that to at least a tie. Sorry guys, I don't mean to be disrespectful to our boys. And then we play FlyQuest, which I gave us a 50-50 chance against. So, in our best games and some of their worst games, we can beat all three of those teams, no doubt. In my mind, I think that's very, very possible. Okay. And that would put us at 8-10, which would be not only guaranteed playoffs, but potentially top 6, which would be insane considering where we started. I really do not think that we're going to win maybe any of those games. I did put it in there as us losing all three of those games, and even with the odds that I had for the rest of these games, it still gave us like a 97% chance to make playoffs. With one win, we are in, period. We've talked about this. 6 wins is pretty much guaranteed playoffs. We've been saying that since week 1. We are now almost 2 months later, and it's still the same thing. 5 wins it's doable. You got to depend on Golden Guardians and Immortals to, one of them to lose all 3 of their games. And for Dignitas to lose at least 1 game, essentially, at that point. Or I guess 2 games. So, luckily all of these teams have something to play for. We're not going to have a game, like last year where it was just kind of like, who gives a crap kind of a game. Like, you might see that at the end of the split. Like, I doubt it, though, because the other team we got to watch for is FlyQuest. They play 100 Thieves, which isn't a great game for them. Then they play Immortals, which I think is a good chance for them to win, and then they play us. So, their last 2 games should be their easier games of the split. But, if they lose either or both of those games, which, at this point we're hoping that they do lose to IMT, that still gives us a good chance at playoffs. And, let's just, we can check that. We'll just put a 1 there. Nope. Just a 1. Thank you. And then let's put a loss there. So even with a guaranteed loss in all 3 games and Immortals beating FlyQuest, like, we're still pretty much locked. I mean, it's not 100%. I think it's probably closer because this playoff projector made me put in basically for total points a projected where they would finish, because again it's a fantasy thing and that's generally based on points. I just basically predicted where I thought everybody should be right now, and lo and behold, we are, again, like I put us at 7. So I'm very intrigued, guys. I don't know what else to say other than this is gonna get close. This is gonna be really, really interesting. Because, I'm just very interested to see what we do here. Because again, 1 win. I mean, all it takes is 1 win, and we're in. And that's really important. That's saying a lot. And again, I mean, 2 wins gives us a chance at a tiebreaker against FlyQuest. Or actually, no. Wow, if we win against FlyQuest, okay, and that's one of our 2 wins, and they lose twice, then we're 6th seed. That's crazy. That's actually nuts. If we 3-0 and Cloud9 0-3, and and obviously we would beat Cloud9 at that point, then we'd play a tiebreaker with Cloud9 for the 5th seed. That is pretty unlikely. I'll be completely honest with you. I can actually see the results here right now. It's giving us a negligible percentage to be the 5 seed because it doesn't know about what's it called? Tiebreakers. Obviously, like, this thing doesn't show tiebreakers, but basically it has us right now at a 1% chance to get the 6th seed, which I would say it's probably closer to 5-ish%, since we do play each other. Like, I mean, again, if I put us in as a win over FlyQuest, I bet you that percentage changes pretty drastically. No, not really, actually. I'd have to play around with this a little bit more. That seems wrong. But, I think it basically gives us a 90% chance at the 7 seed and an 8% chance at the 8 seed. I do think there's a world where we could be the 8 seed, but again, with a big win over Golden Guardians, with a big win over Dignitas, to make those even, then this is good. This is good. We're in a good spot, and I think that's really all that we could ask for right now. I apologize with all the numbers. I get it. It could be a little bit boring, but again, this solo move has seemingly paid off. They really felt like they had a chance without Soul, and they took it, and I can't blame them for it. I'm still not happy about our future. I still question that, but we're looking at playoffs right now, and we're looking at, there's a world where we can finish in the 6th seed. If we finish in the 6th seed, I'm going to be a lot happier with the decision. I will regret my mean words to the team about who cares a lot more, because I really do think the difference between double elimination and one playoff game, I still don't think. I'm just gonna be frank with you guys. Even if we beat FlyQuest, right? Let's say we win 2 games. Let's say we beat. I don't know. Let's say we upset CLG and FlyQuest. Okay. I think personally that and then FlyQuest goes 0-3. By the way, that would have to happen. If that were to happen, I don't know who I would take in a best of 3. I still don't think we beat, again, even if we were to beat FlyQuest, CLG, or C9 in a best of 1, I don't think that translates to a best of 3 for us. I think we're a little bit predictable. And I think, as the meta of the best of 5 were to evolve, we might win a game, but in all reality, I don't think we beat a best of series against, CLG, TL, or Cloud9. Which, unless if I'm really, really sucking on the copium here, or the hopium, I should say, not copium. I'm not coping with anything. I'm hoping. Copium. It's just, it's pretty unlikely to me. I'm just going to be honest. Pretty unlikely. So, this is great. Playoffs are fun. There's a lot of exciting things about a playoff game. But, I am not of the opinion that it's going to be great. And that it'll be a great series, but we'll have to see once we get there. This weekend's going to tell us a lot, and I'll be talking about it a lot more in depth on Thursday. I hope you guys will be watching or listening, I should say, both. I'm just so used to talking to the YouTube channel right now. I'm sorry, listeners, those of you who listen in the podcast form. The original intent of this show, it's still a very big part of it. I'm just. I don't know, guys. I'm very intrigued. The last bit I want to talk about here real quick is Instinct. This guy, I think, should get a little bit more credit than he is right now. He's playing pretty well, guys. Again, his stats are pretty comparable, funny enough, to Tactical. Although, this isn't updated. Why is this not updated? Well, that's disappointing. Oracle's Elixir is normally super up to date. Give me a minute here. That's just really disappointing. Okay, here we go. All right. Why is none of this updating? Has he only played 6 games? That can't be right. Has it only been 6? No, it should be 8, right? He came in week 3. Yeah, and we took down FlyQuest. Yeah, because he has 3 wins. Since he's been playing, right? Yeah, he's 3-5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, he's 3-5. Okay, so for some reason this stuff isn't updated, but I guess I can quickly do it for us. Give me 2 seconds here, fam. I apologize. Because I want to give credit where credit's due for this kid. Okay. So, 2, 7. So he's already got in 8 games, so only 1 more game than Tactical. He's got 28 kills, or 24 kills, excuse me, right? Yeah, 24 kills, which is 10 more. 3 deaths, no deaths. 15 deaths, so 5 less deaths in one game. Difference, 2 assists and 10 assists, so 12. And 31 assists. It's pretty freaking good. I think his XP difference is a little bit better. Now I can't really see that with GOL, which is a great resource. And he's averaging basically the same amount of CS per minute. He's actually one of the better ones. I was kind of critical of it, but he's actually at 9.2. He's up there with Danny, Johnson, and Spawn, funny enough. So he's actually averaging more CS than FBI. I actually thought his CSing wasn't very good. I'll be honest with you, in lanes. So listen, the guy is playing well. He really is. Let me get his KDA real quickly for you here, because it didn't. Let me find this here. So what did we say? 24 plus, what was that? 31 by, how many deaths was that? 15? Yeah, 15. So he's got a 3.6 repeating, so about a 3.7 KDA. It's not amazing, but it's about the same as Johnson's and a little bit below Hans Sama. I will take that. I'm not going to complain about that. I'm very much of the opinion that he is playing pretty well. And again, as a reminder, he is the youngest player. I want to say he's the youngest player starting in the LCS. He just turned 18 a couple of weeks ago. I'd have to check, but I believe he is the youngest player in the LCS. I would love to know your guys' thoughts on Instinct. I really think he's doing fine. And he's not only doing fine, I think he's a player who's only just going to get better. I really, really hope that they commit to this bot lane for the future. It's very promising to me. I think, even listening to the comms, Instinct is very active in calling things out. And I kind of like that. I would prefer it still be Chime and Speak Up, but he still is willing to say what he wants to do in the game and do it. And especially, it would sound like, in the mid and late game. I like it. I really do. And he hasn't looked overwhelmed on any champion in particular, which I think is pretty nice. He's played that Zeri, the Jinx, and the Sivir, and then what did he play? Did he play Sivir both games? Yeah, he played Sivir both games. So he's 2-1 on the Sivir, with a, what is that? 7, 3, 12, with a 12, 4, and 20 KDA. So what? That's 32. That's like an 8 KDA. That's pretty good. And he's CSing well. His CS per minute is high. Listen, Sivir's super strong, and she's relatively easy to play and hard to punish, but I just think he's, those aren't even his best all-time, champions, his best all-time champions are, let me bring them up here, Aphelios, Ezreal, Jinx, Senna, and Varus, and Kai'Sa, and Misfortune, and Ashe. He's played the Jinx once. He doesn't do very well on Jinx, which is sad, but of his most played champions, those are it. He's playing Sivir for the first time ever in this split. He's not playing comfort champions, and that's, to me, that's the sign of a good player. Imagine where he gets into a meta where Aphelios is in the meta, or if they're doing long range, poke meta with Ezreal and Varus, a little Misfortune you can put in there, Jhin, champions that he's more comfortable on, he's going to do better on. I'm very pleased with what I am seeing from him. And I think his positioning needs to be a little bit better. Again, I still think his CSing is okay. This kid is looking really good. He's got a really bright future, and I'm very happy about the way that he's playing. And I know there were rumors that they might not want, they even said in their little, thing, well, we'll have to just see how he plays. It's clear to me that supports really were the difference for him. He just wasn't comfortable with them. Chime is making him a better player. Chime isn't like amazing, but he's playing really well himself. This team has the makings of a bright future. I really do believe that a better top laner and a better mid laner, like imagine if they go out and get a superstar mid laner. Like I right now I'm envisioning a Spica, a VTO or a humanoid, and then an Instinct and Chime. Like some people be like, "Oh, that sounds terrible," but no, that's pretty good. You know, you have like you can go international with your top laner and with your mid laner if you have Spica, Instinct, and Chime. They're all three your NA players. You've got a rising, you've got a rising AD carry, relatively newer, less experienced, a little older, but still less experienced Chime, and you still have a young, like budding superstar in Spica. I mean, imagine if you pair him with a really good mid laner. Maple was a step up, but this team has the opportunity to have a really good future. And yes, I still would love to see Soul. I'm still upset about that. Maybe I'm hanging on to it for too long, but realistically, you don't need him if Instinct and Chime are doing what they're doing. So we're going to talk about it in the offseason. There's a lot to go over, but I'm thoroughly impressed and happy with Instinct, and I really hope that they commit to him because this is just the beginning for him. He is so young. He has so many years of experience left to get, and his ceiling is just climbing game by game by game. And I'm just very happy about it. That part, the future, if they can re-sign Spica and keep this bot lane, I very much prefer our future than I did before. I would still like it if, again, Soul was there, but I guess maybe they might be giving up on Soul at this point. I don't know. Like, if they're apparently going to go out and spend money, there's a world where they just buy the best top laner available and the best mid laner available, and they pay Spica a big time amount of money. And they go, here's our 5. And I think that 5 can, maybe not right away. I think the jump would be more to like a 4th, 5th spot. But by summer of next year, with a really good mid laner and a pretty strong top laner, you're looking in a world where TSM are looking really good. And like, I guess worst case scenario, you just stay with Spica, Instinct, and Soul, and then you bring in a really good mid laner and a really good support. I don't know. There's a lot of options, but they all revolve around Spica staying, and I still don't know if that's going to happen, but I know that he likes money. Not that he's greedy, but the boy likes to spend his money. It's pretty obvious. In old TSM Legends, he always bragged about his drip and all of his different, shoes and stuff. Like, he's fun. I miss that side of Spica. We haven't seen that much. He's a lot more serious, and I'm sure he has to be because the team is, playing not as well, and he's got to focus. But I don't know. I'm pretty pleased. Pretty pleased with this win, and winning feels good, guys. Winning shows improvement as well. Maybe I'm a little bit of a hypocrite or a little bit of contradicting myself, but why not be happy about TSM playing well? I'd rather that than be right. Okay. Well then, it's time to do the closing here. Time to do the closing. If you like this show, please take a second to like, subscribe, and comment if you're watching on our YouTube channel. Make sure you hit that bell icon so you don't miss another episode. Again, we've got frame by frame coming out, hot takes. We've got interviews. I can confirm that I will be going to Chicago for the LCS finals. So if you are interested in meeting up with me or something like that, or just would, want to know what's going on at LCS finals and up in Chicago, then just let me know. I'll happily say hi and happily talk some TSM with you. So even if they're not there, which that'd be pretty incredible if they were to somehow make their way to the top 4 there. That would be crazy. Also, let's continue to make this the number one TSM podcast. So thank you to all of you who listen instead of watch. I hope your morning commute or your evening commute or just sitting by the fire with your significant other while listening is great. Please share this with your friends. You can find me on Twitter at TGHRobertHaynes. You can find the Gamehouse at TGH Esports. Lastly, head to thegamehouse.com. You can check out all of our content. I have a lot of LCS content planned for this week. Go check it out. I promise you will not be disappointed. I'm going to be doing playoff scenarios for all the teams. It's going to take me a while, but I'm going to get it. I'm going to get it. It's going to be great. And with that, thanks for tuning in. This show comes out every Monday and Thursday and is exclusively for your TSM ear holes. I'm Robert Haynes, and this has been Talking TSM. I'll see you all on Thursday.